Everybody, good afternoon. I know that I said I wasn't going to do a planned Facebook Live today, and I really didn't plan on it. But surprise, I really wanted to jump on here and have an unplanned visit. My husband always talks about how he loves an unplanned adventure, so maybe he's rubbing off on me today. But I wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. But I felt really passionate about jumping on today and talking to you about the holidays and intuitive eating and unpack a little bit today about all the things food, body, and our culture for just a few minutes. Um, the holidays kind of can have a mixed bag, and I've talked about that before, where it can be comforting for some and triggering for others. And so, one of the things that I've really been thinking about over this past week and in working with my clients is just that struggle with the food and our diet culture and a lot of feedback and pressures that we can get over the holiday season around eating. So, first and foremost, I got the opportunity to go this weekend to see my son swim. And this kind of fueled some of my thinking around this today, in that I loved seeing these swimmers really tap in to their bodies, feeling grateful for their bodies, and, really connecting with what their bodies can do for them. And on the side of that is how important it is to fuel their bodies to be healthy, to be at their best competitive level. And so I really think that that made me think about, how are we going into these holidays? Both of my kids are coming home, and as a mother, and I do like to entertain for my children, for family over the holidays. I'm kind of geeky that way. I love to like have napkins and chargers for the plates and all the things. Um, but the other piece of that is that I want to have food for my children that honors our memories, traditions, and time together. So there's often a lot of food, more food than anyone can really eat. I like for them to have their favorites. And that's just part of creating that sense of gathering and nurturing environment. But food can be a mixed bag again for a lot of people. What has happened in this diet mentality and culture that we live in is foods can often be divided into good and bad. And there can be restrictive habits that can lead to a lot of emotional stuff, a sense of deprivation, which is really unhealthy. So, I'm not a fan of diets. I know that people can lose weight from counting calories and doing different diets, keto versus, South Beach versus whatever. I'm a fan of intuitive or mindful eating. I think that we can become very disconnected from our bodies and our hunger cues. And part of that can be in feeding into this diet culture, in disconnecting from our body because of a lack of body acceptance, because we're given images of, what we're supposed to look like. So here's some feedback I have. I want you to think about how you can approach Thanksgiving by being thankful for the time with family, thankful for the abundance of food, and really honoring your hunger. You are not going to make or break healthy eating or what you're doing in one day. It's not going to happen. You might think it's going to happen, and our culture may tell you it's going to happen, and our culture may tell you that there's good and bad foods and you shouldn't eat certain things. And then there's this pressure of eating more when we're around family. So, we're going to talk about some of those boundaries in a second. But honoring your hunger is really connecting with your body and being intuitive about what you want, what you don't want, what your hunger level is. And sometimes when we're gathering, we've learned to disconnect, eat in front of televisions, eat with our phones. We're not connected to our body and our hunger cues or our fullness cues, or that level of satisfaction when we're eating. So I encourage you to be mindful of that. If you're mindful of that and you want more, eat more. Tune into that and learn how to recognize those signs in your body. Learning to make peace with food. And this is a good day to just honor that. If you want some pumpkin pie, eat some pumpkin pie. I want you to think about challenging the food police, like people who are telling you not to eat this or to eat this, and really connecting to what you want. Recognize before you go somewhere, take that emotional temperature. Notice your stress level. What other emotions are coming up for you? How can you attend to those emotions without using food to cope? And if you don't know how to do that, that's okay. Be aware of that as you go through this week, and then make it a priority to take care of yourself in that new way. Move your body, whether it's go for a walk, do some yoga, anything. Just move and connect with your body at different times during the day so that you know what's going on. Honoring your health, this is why I like intuitive eating, mindful eating, is there's no good and bad foods. It's a focus on lifestyle, good health, and good nutrition that doesn't get rigid and polarized, and instead allows flexibility and allows you to enjoy good food. Deprivation doesn't help anybody with anything. It's about balance, flexibility, tuning into your body, and overall good health and nutrition. So, in looking at intuitive eating, the intuitive eating site talks about this Bill of Rights for the holidays. And I just want to go over a couple of them that I think are just helpful to take in and think about as you're going into Thursday. You have the right to savor and enjoy your meal without counting calories, without trying to already plan how much exercise you're going to need to do to undo what you just enjoyed. You have the right to be thankful and enjoy your meal. You have the right to enjoy a second helping without having to apologize. You have the right to honor your fullness if you don't want more and say no thank you. If you really don't want dessert, you can say no, thank you. If you don't want bread, say no, thank you. It is not your responsibility to make everyone happy by overeating or listening to the food police and undereating. Honor your hunger and your fullness, your satisfaction level. Tune into that. And then have your boundary match it. I love this one. You have the right to eat pumpkin pie for breakfast. Yes, yes, you do. I'm a bit of a sweet eater. I love it. My mom makes this lemon pie, and I'll tell you, she'll have it for me every time I come. And sometimes I eat it for breakfast. Now, would that be a healthy option for me to do every single day? No, but I don't see my mother every single day. And I have so many fond memories about lemon pie and teasing my sister when I go home and I get the lemon pie and she's not at home. I mean, I literally take a picture of it and send it to her to make her feel jealous. Isn't that good coming from a therapist? Right? Remember, no one except for you knows how you feel, both emotionally and physically. I encourage you to learn how to be the expert of your own body. And speaking of that and respecting your body, we are all shaped differently. We are genetically wired differently. We will fuel our body differently. And when you have a person who has a shoe size of 8, do you make them fit into a shoe size of 6? That would be uncomfortable. Why are we trying to do that with our overall body? We are all made differently. It was another thing that stood out to me at the swim meet. There were bodies of all different sizes. And some of those bodies were good at sprinting in the water. And some of those bodies don't have that same twitch reflex that a sprinter has. They're longer and leaner and slower off the blocks. And they make one hell of a distance swimmer. When a distance swimmer tries to swim sprint, might not work out so well. And that person might feel like a failure if they're being told that their bodies need to do something that they're not as equally designed for. And the same thing when you take someone who is trained for sprint and you tell them they need to swim the mile. That's not going to look pretty, right? So self-compassion and respecting your body and learning to love the body that you have is important. And we're going to talk about that more next week as I finish up the gratitude series. I really want to look at that and that struggle that we have in our own bodies. This is even more pronounced for trauma survivors who often disconnect from their bodies to survive. And sometimes reconnecting with the body can be difficult, sometimes scary, upsetting, overwhelming. So I do want to unpack that, but also, as I caution whenever I work on things about the body and eating and anything that's emotional, if it's too much, turn it off. If it's too much, please get some support. So even though I've gone through with some tips and tools to help you connect and get through Thursday, you might not do well. That's okay. Notice it. Small stuff often is something I say, it's a Gottman statement. Progress over perfection is another thing I say. Reflection, which we talked about last time, is learning and reviewing so that we can grow, right? Use it as an opportunity to learn and grow. I hope that you and your families have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I did put a post on Facebook today about boundaries and saying no and, really protecting yourself from exhaustion. And I hope you will take that to heart. Take care of you. I'm thankful for you and showing up to listen and support me with my expanding business and all that I'm doing. So, thank you for that. Have a blessed week. Take care of yourself. Bye.